There's a reason why we don't call it houselessness. That's because being homeless is about much more than just not having a place to sleep or shelter. It's about not having a home. A home is so much more than a roof and four walls. It's a center of connection, a foundation of community, and a source of support. And when you don't have those things, it's truly a time of crisis. The challenge of homelessness is large and multifaceted. Our response must be the same.
Like this, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people have been homeless for many years for numerous different reasons, you know. I've lived like this for 11 years because of epilepsy, and I've been denied Social Security many times, you know what I'm saying? And with some people, they go through adversity. Some people choose to be homeless.
Vietnam, the effects of their traumatic experiences would prove too much, driving them to drug or alcohol abuse as a way of dealing with a life that had spiraled out of control.
Stuff that these folks are dealing with mentally and physically are really traumatic. They don't want to face life. They've got bad memories. They don't want to face them. They prefer to hide them in drugs and alcohol so that they don't have to face them.
I became homeless back in the early 90s. Didn't have anywhere else to go other than shelters. And when I couldn't go in shelters, I slept wherever I could possibly go. Under bridges, in woods, in a tent, in a cardboard box, wherever I could possibly lay my head at.
The working poor have become among America's fastest growing demographic. Charmaine works full-time as a telephone data collector.
I make about $250 a week, depending on the hours that I work.
On many days, the 38-year-old eats a free dinner at the New York City Rescue Mission before heading to the place she's called home for the past 5 years.
I come here to eat at the mission, then jump on the train, get back to the shelter for curfew at 8 o'clock. If you don't make it back to the shelter at 8 o'clock, they've already packed up your clothes.
A record high of 50,000 people currently occupy New York City's shelters. Of those living in them, city figures show 28% of families and 16% of adults are employed.
The jobs are not paying you what they should be paying you, first of all. And everything is, the prices are just up on everything. You know, it's just not affordable at all.
In 2011, 46% of New Yorkers were considered either poor or almost poor. The income gap in America's richest city is comparable to those of some sub-Saharan African countries.
Arrived starting here in New York, where the tree was lit up just last night. City's packed with tourists. We keep hearing holiday shopping is roaring back this year. Everyone is hoping it's a sign of a more robust economy. But way too many American families got caught and are still trapped in the downturn. Ann Curry spent time with families who were supposed to have the American dream, educated, hardworking, with all the trappings of a middle-class life in America. But in a kind of slow-motion way, they have watched themselves become part of a new class of working homeless, something we last saw in the Depression 80 years ago.
It's the first line, get a job, you bum. That's the line, right? That's not the case. Most of the people work here. I have a full-time job. A lot of people have full-time jobs, and I still can't afford a home. That's why I'm here. I'm an overnight clerk. There's a shop right about a mile up the road. I work overnight stock, and I bag. Just gotta take what I can get, you know. I work full-time, make my paycheck, put it in the bank, and I save it. I still live in a tent. I'm not on any sort of government assistance. I make too much money. So because I work full-time, I'm too rich. You have to make less than a certain amount of money, so I'm too wealthy. Go figure. I'm too wealthy. That's my house. You see it back there? I live in a tent. I'm too wealthy to get general assistance. You tell me this works out? This is right? This isn't the way America's supposed to be. Okay, it's unbalanced. You have hardworking, upstanding citizens who can't afford homes.